Hello, I am the gaming superhero, and today we are talking about the spookiest Thunderbolt, Ghost. Probably the one with the most interesting power set, but with that comes being the trickiest to implement. But before we get to that, we do have a question to answer, and that is if we go with a male ghost from the comics or a female ghost from the movies. The female version is more well known at this point, and the male version doesn't even have like a real name, alter ego. We only know him as Ghost, just the Ghost alias. Personally, I think I would add the female version because they have an alter ego to use and is generally more well known, as well as it really doesn't matter given how androgynous the designs tend to be. But with that settled, let's discuss their origin. Ghost, aka Unknown, first appeared in Iron Man number 219. We open with Tony Stark on the beach with the most 80s workout outfit I think I've ever seen. But the most 2020s earbuds. Some serious foresight in the on the artist's part. He then leaves in a helicopter piloted by Rhodey to go to a company Tony plans on buying. But surprise, California is on fire and threatens to destroy the facility, so Iron Man saves the building. Business is then discussed until the Ghost is mentioned as a legend and not believed to be real. After establishing that Stark is risking everything to buy Accutech, he signs the paper just in time for Ghost to make himself known, forcing Iron Man to chase him through the facility like Juggernaut and Shadowcat from X-Men The Last Stand. Except if Juggernaut was dying inside from destroying his own property he just bought. He eventually stops him by using a sonic blast, but then guards come in to arrest the Ghost, and he throws a grenade to distract Iron Man and escape. That ends Ghost's first appearance. Simple and straightforward. Nothing much more to say about it, so to the kit! I have made her a duelist with a melee primary. I also thought it would be cool if this melee had a unique interaction of every third or fourth consecutive melee hit. They would cause Ghost to teleport to the opposite end of the hit enemy. So if you were like hitting someone in the front, you would appear right on their back in order to imitate her fighting style in the movies. I also gave her a movement ability called Jump Scare, which will essentially teleport her a good distance forward or directly to an enemy if they are within line of sight and within range. Very similar to Mr. Fantastic's grab, except no knockback or initial damage from the attack. We then have the passive, where she will occasionally just become invisible for a second or two, like the Spirit from hit video game Dead by Daylight, where every few seconds they just vanish for a brief duration. It can't be controlled, but it can be capitalized on. She is not intangible from the passive, just invisible, so she can still be shot while the passive is active. But don't be sad, because Ability 1, Ghost Phase, does make her intangible for a few seconds, being able to phase through allies, enemies, small bits of terrain, breakable walls, bullets, other projectiles. She also becomes immune to crowd control. An example of small bits of terrain are like the moving walls on the Hydra map that aren't breakable but still thin enough to seem reasonable to walk through. So anything similar to that or payloads would also qualify, but it's also really insignificant. You can also cancel the ability early for attacking, giving a shorter cooldown, as well as the canceling hit doing double damage to the enemy. Last bit was inspired by the movie, and yes, a rare ability activation voice line would obviously have to be, her saying going Ghost. Ability 2, Can't Run. Deploy an electric field around Ghost that slows enemies within it. A nice way to keep enemies from escaping when you jump them. It is also inspired by the fact that Comic Ghost usually has a lot of electrical abilities, mostly like EMP stuff, but still. So I needed one of them to use it, and what better than an anti-escape tool? Next is the ultimate, all-consuming fear. Detonate an explosion that disables all enemy abilities for a short duration. This is pretty much just Sombra's ult from Overwatch. Again, inspired by her espionage roots of disabling all sorts of tech, so I've extended it to all abilities. Nothing crazy, at least for an ult. I do like to picture that it cancels ultimates in its radius that are like actively going, like Luna Snow or similar alts that continue on for a while. You know, give it a nice advantage, and a way of stopping the Luna alt would be really nice. You have to, you know, do an alt for it, but, you know, makes it a fair trade-off. I have also given her a team-up called Ghost in the Machine with Iron Man and Ultron. That's right, I'm giving him a team-up before he's even in the game. Both of them gain the ability to become intangible for a short duration. Shorter than Ghost intangibility and without the extra canceling bonus damage. But other than that, same functionality of going through players and certain objects, becoming invulnerable. So, you know, nothing too crazy, but still, you know, a good amount crazy. Becoming intangible for a few seconds is nothing to, you know, sneeze at. And that is how I would add Ghost to Marvel Rivals. I am very happy with how this one came out, and would love for her to make it to the game, but, you know, they will probably just add Kitty Pryde instead and make Ghost a skin because of their similar power set, which matches their mindset for other characters. You know, it would suck, but it matches. And to be fair, they have yet to add any characters as alternative skins. So maybe they have reconsidered their stance on characters like Red Hulk and X-23. But as for the kit, I have made a very cool, another backline assassin, which the game really doesn't need. But if we're being honest, let's just imagine this is added after a bunch more backline defenders are also added to balance everything out more. Although personally, I think this is the most well-designed backline flanker. Shouldn't have an obnoxiously fast insta-kill combo or lock-on melee that can't be avoided. Just a way to get into the backline and engage the supports on an even playing field. With some advantages, because obviously being in an enemy backline is already a disadvantage, so some things for a slight edge. Still, ultimately, nothing that can't be countered by good play. But let me know what you think. Is this the best flanker kit of the game so far, or not? Who would you want me to make a kit for in the future? And 100 subscribers to the Discord. Just like under 10 people, and we are there. Going to be some cool shit on there, so do it. Subscribe. Also, I got something big planned for July, so if you want to see that, it's the best way to stay informed. But with that, you're welcome for not doing some lame jumps.